only, like toilet paper is our go-to.
I love getting my hair cut, especially when there's a scalp massage involved.
But she would say, your body is a temple and you need to take care of it.
We have a lot of flexibility.
Yeah, where he just ate garbage. How long was that? A year?
Do this. I can't do this without Cassie and the kids enabling me to do this.
I find myself encouraging myself, so I'm like, no, you can do this. Don't give up.
We got lots to say.
I love my husband so much and my son. I had a baby. Her name is Isla.
I want to see the baby. I've definitely had multiple drinks on multiple episodes.
Loosen up.
It's a podcast. We're here to have fun, so enjoy yourself.
Yes, chef. Colin is simultaneously appearing on our podcast episode and doing all the technical work in the background at the same time. So we were just joking that we're doing front of house and back of house.
Yeah,
together.
We're just doing it all.
Just doing it all.
They make it so complicated.
Last episode we had the intentions of recapping our most offensive and least offensive Halloween costume sightings.
Yeah, how'd that go for you?
Did you see anything that maybe
our neighborhood was pretty quiet. And we were done around 7:30 kind of thing. We
I'm
didn't
shocked.
stay with the kids.
No way.
Well, I mean, Olivia's like pretty keen on not putting in effort for things, so she's really tired almost right away.
I'm not laughing at her. I'm laughing at picturing the situation of her being like, I'm good. Yeah.
And we had to convince her we basically did a block and a half.
Nice.
But they're pretty big blocks.
Yeah, like your guys' houses are spaced out. It's like a scallop.
Mm-hmm. And sorry, I hit my keyboard there. I only saw two like arguably inappropriate costumes on a couple young ladies.
Okay.
And they were police officer and firefighter, and they were just a red and a blue dress, and they had a hat on each, and I think maybe a badge, but the dresses were like tube tops.
Nice. Classic. Yeah. Young lady costume.
Yeah. It was, it just, I mean, at least some effort, so I can't knock them, you know what I mean?
Totally.
But
yeah.
Ultimately, no judgment. I would not let my daughter leave the house dressed like that. They looked like, I don't know, 14, 15 type. You know what I mean?
Like it's probably their last Halloween.
And the dresses were really, really short, and I don't know, not judging. Just,
it was. I think it. I don't want to say it plays off of something we talked about last time, but like there is a level of like. I feel like I was talking about it with bathing suits, where I was like, am I the problem for thinking that bikinis are not appropriate for young girls to wear? Right?
Yeah.
Like, is it me that's the problem, or is it like, should they be wearing bikini? Like, what's the deal? And so I feel like this kind of comes back to that same concept, more or less, where is it us that have like these predetermined notions about like that's not enough clothing for your age, you shouldn't wear that? Is it up to us to decide or judge? You know,
probably no.
I feel like I don't say there's a safety aspect in all of this, but to me, a little bit. Like if you had to like run and escape a dangerous situation, that might not be the best attire to be wearing. I mean, hopefully they don't have to do that on Halloween night. At any point, not just Halloween night, but I feel like a little bit of that plays into it in my mind. But also modesty, I think, and perhaps old fashioned or something. But like, yeah, I think it's okay to be like a little modest. Like, there's a whole spectrum
But
of,
like, what's a little modest? Like, you can show your ankle kind of thing.
well, this is it. Like, it depends who you ask, I think.
Yeah.
If you were to ask, I mean, I know there's a lot of like a religious upbringings that would, like, of various cultures, religious upbringings that would
Mm-hmm.
all kind of say the same thing, that like modest is don't even show your ankles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But that being said, in our culture
I
and
think
today's
too.
society, where we are located geographically, like what is appropriate anymore? Because I'm not even sure I know the answer to that. Like, not
Honestly,
nudity?
I probably isn't an answer. It's probably
Yeah.
dealer's choice. And the one thing I can say for these girls is I'm glad that they have the confidence to dress the way they feel they want to, and go
Fair.
ahead and, you know what I mean? Like, I think modesty is probably a learned skill, a learned trait, and it probably doesn't need to be learned
Hmm.
until a certain time. You know what I mean? Like, when you're young, just be young, kind of thing. Modesty is
Yeah.
for us old folks.
And I don't want to say I'm starting to realize that, but there's a level of appropriateness at
Mm-hmm.
different
Mm-hmm.
periods in life for all all subjects on the spectrum, if you will, right? Like, if you're talking about the way somebody dresses, like, I hate to say it, but I think your age might have some impact on that. And I'm not saying,
It should.
once you're 50, you got to dress like the Golden Girls, but like, I think a good example, perhaps, I said to Jordan recently, I was like, I don't think I would not wear pigtails out in public, right? I'm like, that seems like a younger gal's hairstyle. Like, I don't think I should be doing that. And I feel a
Do
bit weird if,
braids pigtails, or is it just the ponytails on the side?
like, just the two ponytails off the side of the
Got it.
head. I
Yeah.
just, that there's a juvenile look or feeling, quality associated to that hairstyle. And I just, like, I'm not in that demo anymore, I'm not in the
No,
demographic
I
of
think I
it.
agree with you. There
So
are certain, yeah.
there are
That's like, I
other
don't like seeing full
examples,
grown
but
men. I keep cutting you off. I'm really
no,
sorry.
full grown men.
Well, like, dressing like they're going out to the club when they're 22. First of all, if any person of any age wears a hat just slightly canted to the side, I'm sorry, you're automatically a moron in my books. I automatically judge you as
I
being
feel
less
like
smart than the people around you.
I immediately picture like a scene from Fresh Prince, because he was
I'm
like
picturing like,
notorious for doing that. Like, he would put it on straight and then turn it to the side.
and to that, I would
Yeah.
suggest that there are certain individuals who can break certain rules, and that's fine. There are
Okay.
exceptions to everything, right? So
Yes.
if there was a real, I mean, I'm sure there's a real life person who, by their personality, maybe their job type or whatever, I don't know, they're able to pull it off and not be, you know what I mean? But
Disgraceful.
I'm picturing like a Kevin Federline kind of a look.
Oh, yeah,
You know what I
nice.
mean?
Yeah.
Like, you're a weapons grade loser now.
Yeah.
Okay, we need to
The
dial it
opposite
back,
of
and you need to put on
class.
a shirt that has less shimmer to it. Okay, less shimmer. No reflection at all, unless it's safety, and then you should be running at the same time because it's a
I feel
workout
like
shirt.
people are going to need to have a little bit of a background on Kevin Federline if they don't know. So he was a backup dancer.
Who's K-Fed?
K-Fed was a backup dancer for Britney Spears, who eventually became her husband, and I think father to her 2 children. Is that true?
Let's see. Pulling up the old Wikipedia.
Dear, that was loud.
Also known as K-Fed, an American
Oh,
dancer, actor, and DJ. You know what my favorite thing is when he's got 6 fucking kids. This guy is like Nick Cannon. Just kids everywhere.
Well,
as soon as you
speaking of
have
kids
like this,
everywhere, Elon Musk. Oh my god.
well, yeah, at least he can
Hasn't
afford
Elon
them.
Musk been a not only has he's fathered a bunch of children to partners, but apparently he's been a sperm donor as well to a lot of people.
Honestly, that wouldn't surprise me. And my first thought is that he just wants to inject higher quality genes into the world population.
Gosh.
And I'm not saying that facetiously or whatever kind of word might work here.
Okay.
He truly cares about the human population, and that's why he's trying so hard to do all of these things. He's coming, judge him. A lot of people don't like him, but from where he's standing, his heart is just full of goodness, and he's trying to make the world a better place. And I don't think anyone can fault him for that. I mean,
right.
They're going to judge him for a lot of other things. But
I think he has a very... His intelligence level is like beyond the stars. And I think he's easily misconceived because of his behavior associated with that kind of interest, intelligence, whatever. I mean, I think he's been quoted saying like he wants to have a lot of children. And
he thinks that our population is declining.
Yes.
And that's the problem. Like, he thinks if we don't, look at, we talked about, I think, China and their one-child policy, and their whole population is going to be screwed for generations because of it.
And because the one-child policy, I don't want to say favored boys, but like in turn favored boys, a lot of like shady stuff happened. And there is an overpopulation of men and an underpopulation of women. It's like great.
You do the math.
Well, the male dating pool is large for women, but anyways, I think I remember seeing or reading a news piece article about how like women have so much more options, more or less. Like there's a lot more people who are single and available, discerning. And they can be more choosy. Yeah. And so I'm saying like a lot of men feel lonely because there just isn't enough women at the end of the day. Like there just isn't. And so anyhow, all this to say, Elon Musk is solving it all.
Well, I mean,
solving this issue single-handedly. No, I'm just kidding.
Well, he's trying to solve it, which is good because not very many other people are.
He's and single-handedly taking it upon himself.
He's not really well liked because of his work with Twitter, I guess. I think that's really that's what people are really focusing on, but they're not, they're not really focusing on the good things like SpaceX and Tesla and PayPal and I want to say Solar City. I don't know. Don't quote me on that one.
Okay.
He's also he's giving free internet to Ukraine with Starlink so that they can fight their war against Russia.
I did not know this. Say more. I mean, what? That sounds like...
Well, yeah. A real he's problem. Like, hey, you guys, how can I help? And he's helping the way he can. And that's what all these projects
he's helping Ukraine. Or is he helping Russia? I didn't understand.
Ukraine. He's helping
Okay.
Ukraine. He's
Okay, I'm
giving
sorry.
Starlink to Ukraine.
Got
Whew.
it.
Glad we cleared that one up.
Sorry, I thought you said Russia, but I don't think you did. I think I just completely misunderstood. So yeah,
I may have
I
said
see.
with their war against Russia, probably.
Well,
I
okay.
honestly can't
Yeah,
remember what I said 7
no,
seconds ago.
I conflated it. Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, he is like one of the possibly few people that's way up there in terms of success and control financially in the world, and he seems to actually be wanting to do good, and that's rare, if ever even has that ever even existed,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
2018 cannabis incident. This is on Elon Musk's Wikipedia. There's a whole paragraph because he smoked a joint with fucking Joe Rogan. Like, people have
Yeah,
better things to do in your life than worry about, you know what I mean? Just because he's
yeah.
a business owner doesn't mean he can't, hit the J
Smoke
every now
weed
and again. What
legally in the state of
like,
California.
people drive me
That,
insane.
to
This is what I
me,
was going to
like,
say
that would
about,
be the equivalent of him having a drink on the show, because it has the same legal credit, or going to Amsterdam and smoke. You know what I mean? Like, it's this is same. Yeah, people will weaponize anything to
yeah,
make their point. You know what I mean? So I just think that as much as the people have their say and control with the internet being so accessible now, I think that at the end of the day, like, Elon Musk will always have his people supporting him and whatnot.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And I mean, he's a Trump supporter too, I think, and that really, a lot of people don't like that
Ribs people
because,
the
I
wrong
mean,
way. Yeah.
and I'm not saying he's not done stupid things or questionable things.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently, there's been a lot going around about him giving money to people who are going to register to vote, and I don't know if that's true or not, and I don't know if he's only giving money to people who are registering to vote and are Republican, or I don't know. I don't want to
Right.
muddy the waters, but I think what's important is that he's done more good for the world than bad, I would argue. A lot of people might disagree with that because of Twitter and the reach that it has and stuff like that, but I think it
Mm-hmm.
would be ridiculous to say that honestly and believe it. I think he's done more good than bad.
Mm-hmm.
And on top of that, even considering how well known he is, there's a biography out there on him called Musk. I read that. It's a really good book, but he's a very private person. And so
Which is
it's
wild because, like you said, you look up his name and there's all this information on him. People are writing about him all the time, and it's like, even though he's making this true effort to be private, it's still very difficult to do when people
yeah, right
want to
here.
know
Well,
stuff.
and my point to that too was everyone likes to pass judgment on everyone else. This is a good person, that's a bad person.
Mm-hmm.
I heard an interesting one, and it was, when someone cuts you off on the highway, the only
Mm-hmm.
thing you know about that person is that they cut you off on the highway.
Yeah,
You don't
yeah.
know anything else about them.
You don't know their story,
And
what their
not
day
to,
looks like, what led to this moment. Yeah, it's not personal.
and I think that's the same thing with these famous people. Like, just because Elon Musk's got a Wikipedia page, and I was going to
Mm-hmm.
say this earlier about Kevin Federline, it says he's an American actor, dancer, and DJ. I'm like, I don't agree with people who have the smallest iota of fame and they get to just decide all of these things. It's like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm a DJ. What do you mean? You press play on a MacBook one time in front of people and you're a DJ?
Right. Well, speaking of DJs, did you
Anyway,
know Russell Peters is a DJ? He's
no, I
been
did not know that.
DJing for over a decade. I think he said
Whoa.
13 years. Yeah, he was I just listened to him on a podcast, the
If we can listen.
Not Today Pal podcast. And yeah, he's like, oh, so when I do my sets, DJing, and he's comparing it to his comedy and stuff. And I don't think they knew either. Like, the hosts were just like, what? This is amazing. And yeah, he was talking about how he gets, more stage fright from that than he has ever had from comedy. But also the thrill of it. And, that's why he's kept doing it. But I just thought that is amazing. Like, nobody is unidimensional, right? Like, we're all...
Yeah. Russell Peters, artist. He's on Spotify.
There you go.
I'm going to have to listen to some of this. So, Elon Musk, the idea here, just because, he's out in the news and everything, you're only getting whatever they want you to read side of the story about it.
Mm-hmm.
But we don't know anything about him. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's really easy to sit back and judge a person for what the news says about them or what this writer or that person tweeted, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
to sit back and then say you can pass judgment on this person and you can say, yeah, this guy is blank, I think it's really ridiculous.
Yeah.
Really quick, I just, during the March 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine, Musk sent Starlink terminals to Ukraine to provide internet access and communication. In October 2022, he stated that about 20,000 satellite terminals had been donated to Ukraine, together with free data transfer subscriptions, which cost SpaceX $80 million.
But, like, I don't want to say...
It cost them $400 million a year to run that shit for Ukraine.
It has cost him.
But he's also not blocking Russia's state media on Starlink.
Right.
Because he's a free speech absolutist. I mean, I don't care about that. Russia's going to figure out a way to wage the war anyway. There's no point. He's also, like, he's running a company. I get that. And when he's losing $40 million a year.
40 million. Okay.
I mean, I think that's something that people should focus on. I don't know how many people out there know what it feels like to...
Like, how many people are...
I certainly don't.
Yeah, are doing so well that they can afford to lose 40 million and still be fine.
Yeah, I'm going to look up Mr. Bezos and see what he's been doing.
Jeff.
I bet you he's not...
There was a clip of him laughing that came out during the pandemic, and it's like the most, like, maniacal laugh.
He's donated shit to Ukraine.
Jeff, what are you doing?
Philanthropy. Let's see what he does under philanthropy. Bezos donated to the Fred Hutchinson Cancer Research Center. And I got a big problem with cancer research centers, only from the point of view that I can't believe.
What are they doing?
For however many decades, people have been donating obscene amounts of money for cancer research.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels like we're no closer. You know what I mean?
Well, okay. So I agree with you in a lot of ways, because there are still many forms of cancer that have absolutely little to no treatment. But there are forms of cancer that are getting so much progressive treatment options that I feel like maybe this is just where we're at economically now. It costs so much to put in the time and effort and resources to whoever it is that gets involved with the research process. Because, I mean, shit's not cheap. So I'm sure in the medical field, things have gotten expensive too, to run.
It's a business, so, like...
Yes, I guess.
You know what I mean? Like,
is that what you're telling me?
I believe that... Well, I mean, they make... First of all, the barriers to medicine, even in North America, a developed country, things can be so expensive for absolutely no reason. Yeah. It's just because they've decided that that's what it's going to cost, especially if it's a patented drug. They're going to decide the cost, and it's going to unless you have insane insurance, it's ridiculous. And I think too that they keep a lot of these. I don't know. This is a little conspiracy theory, and I have almost no evidence to back this up.
Okay.
I'm not trying to suggest that the system's designed to keep you sick, but I am trying to suggest that it's certainly not optimized to get people healthy and to stay healthy. They don't want a system where people are healthy. They want a system where people can continue to get sick, so that they can continue to make money. They can continue to do research and development. They can continue to lobby governments to pass laws and blah, 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 blah. I mean, you're telling me that that's in line with your Hippocratic oath to do no harm? I really don't believe so. That's kind of where I sit on that one.
I mean, yes, I agree with you, but also I think there are some efforts happening. Like there is progress happening. Just like, is it as quick as it could be happening?
Yeah, you're right. You're right. You're
Yeah.
right. They're making the progress seem like it's just small little increments. I think it could be much larger. I think that's what I'm trying to say. I think that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. Gosh, I'm trying to find the name of.
Oh, I'd love to hear the end of that sentence.
I don't know where I left off.
I'm trying to find the name of.
There's a man. There's a man who donated large sums of money over the last many, many years to cancer research.
No, I was thinking about other kinds of donations.
And I'm going to be so annoyed now. I can probably look it up. I just need a second. But yeah, he's been anonymous for many, many years, and I don't say now, but he's been recently named. Like his name has been made public with his knowledge.
Is this guy like whereabouts in the world are we looking here?
In Canada. And it's an interesting story. Oops, I wrote dancer instead of cancer. That is so not the same.
Arthur Childs? No.
Gosh, this isn't going to come up, is it?
Type in Arthur Child and see what happens. The philanthropist. Anthony Pilcher.
Here we go. No? Yes, no? Hang on.
This is the best, like the whole world of the internet, and we're trying to find one guy's name. That's a weird Google. Recently named cancer donor. I don't know.
I was looking up that same thing as well. No.
Anyway, we're never going to find this.
Not Spotify, Shopify. I'm an idiot.
Did he own Shopify? Was he part of Shopify? Why are we talking Shopify?
Sorry. I feel like I'm giving away.
Murray Sinclair?
Tobias?
Bias?
Is it Tobias?
Jedediah?
We got this whole thing. Okay, I think I found it. Bruce McKean. McKean? All right, let's see. CAMH. Oh, it's not going to let me read this because I guess it's a paid article now, but I definitely read it.
There are ways around that. Is it Toronto,
the Toronto Star?
The man behind a stunning $203 million gift. Is this
Yeah. So, like, he has in total donated $203 million. It's mental health. Oh my gosh, I'm an idiot.
Well,
my apologies.
You shouldn't say bad things about yourself. He obviously would not like you to do that.
Okay,
That's
and especially because he's donating to mental health and addiction center. So he has donated to the Center for Addiction and Mental Health on Queen Street, West in Toronto. That's like absolutely a version of the telephone game growing up where you're like,
except you say you're something, the only one playing.
Yeah, and it's my own brain playing against me, so that's super. So he has made the largest cumulative donation for mental health care in Canadian history. A guy in jeans off the street casually dropped a big number, one that left his tour guide stunned. He was just asking to have a look around. And then he said, so I guess he had a tour guide show him around, and then he's like, oh, I'd like to make a donation. And then he asks, what were you thinking? And he goes, no, 50 million.
Yeah, I was just thinking, 50 million.
Yeah. He was a little-known retired federal civil servant. He'd suddenly become quite wealthy, and he was here. He let them know to make a difference. Yeah, sorry, you were saying they're making they're building a new edition, or they have built a new edition?
Well, it's just a couple paragraphs under where you were. But yeah, they're calling it a new construction under the CAMH's Queen Street location. It will be named Waverly House. And my first thought was they're going to call the people that are there who are difficult the Witches of Waverly Place. Just going to never again will I say it. It's done. We're good. Let's move on.
Got it. But yeah, at the if it, I don't know what the ticket price of a new building is, but 203 million, like, wow, that's amazing. Amazing. The link between him, I believe he is now don't quote me because I've already gotten half the story wrong, but his son-in-law is like founded Shopify. Let's see. His godson? Is that what it is? No. His godson was diagnosed with schizophrenia as a teenager. So I think that's kind of like where his heart is tied into all of this. Like, he saw that he needed some help. CAMH is talking about how they were both civil servants, him and his wife. Long story short, he has a link to, I believe it's he's the father-in-law of Shopify's founder. And so, anyways, there's like some family money, I guess, now. I don't know if that's tied into it, but anyway, he's interested in making a difference, and he seems like he was a civil servant for his entire career. Yeah. So I feel like, that's pretty wild when you think about it.
I mean, it's impressive I don't know. I feel like most people would probably, if they had a massive windfall like that, would probably try to
Mm-hmm.
donate some of the money somewhere, you know?
Help others, right?
Mm-hmm.
I think I think there's some recognition in perhaps seeing that, he likely got help. He saw people who needed help over the years. Obviously, it has affected him enough
Yeah.
to want to help. So, yeah, I think I think that's a beautiful thing. But yeah, going back to cancer donations,
By the
I've
way, we
definitely
started on Kevin Federline, and
yeah. How
and
did we
now
get here?
here we are. Yeah.
But I think that there are advancements happening in cancer research and in many branches, if you will, of cancer treatment. How much we may never know. Do they want people to be 100% healthy? Maybe not. Like our system in Canada is, I don't know if it's better or worse, but it's more socialist than other countries like the US, for example, where it's you pay into an insurance plan and then your insurance like reimburses you more or less. We have some of that here. Like there's some very socialist countries where it's like all of that is covered. You don't have the option for private care for anything. But I feel like here, we're probably out of 100%. I think we're like between 60 and 70, maybe. Like we're over half, I'd say, because you can still get like work insurance that covers, people talk about benefits, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that usually is the dental portion or fees that, won't cover pharmaceuticals if you need them, that kind of stuff. So it kind of bridges the gap, but what's getting at this? Yeah, hopefully that system isn't so rigged that people are only in it for profit and not actually for in the
I feel
hopes
like,
to help others, right?
because I don't think like people really get into that industry to make a buck. It's really difficult, I imagine. Although,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're a top tier medical professional, you're definitely making a lot of money. I feel like it's more the system that's designed, and those individuals are forced to work within a system that's maybe not optimized or not as efficient
It's
as it could
flawed,
be.
perhaps,
Yeah,
yeah.
and it's difficult to overcome that, I think, but it's hard to know for
And
sure.
how can we possibly build a system that isn't flawed when we ourselves are flawed? Like we're not
Yeah,
perfect
it's gonna
beings. Is
happen.
there such a thing as perfection? And then also like, it's as good as the people who make it. So does it work? Yes. Are there flaws? Yes. But hopefully there aren't so many shortcomings that like the overall system still is able to function and help people.
Yeah, yeah. I guess we just need to count our blessings, maybe. As cheap as that
Ooh,
sounds, there's
gratitude.
really, yeah, because I'm sitting here thinking, like, yeah, we do have free healthcare,
Mm.
but we call it free healthcare, and I know people that pay for prescription drugs. I don't know why. I don't
Mm-hmm.
understand. And that's I mean, a blessing I have. I've got really great benefits with the military. I don't pay for a thing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't even have to pay for over the counter meds. Like I could go get free Tylenol and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, yeah.
um, but it's the wait times for the big things. Like
The big things.
you can't take a
Surgeries.
child who's sick in Kingston, for example. We have to go to the ER.
Yeah.
I think there's a walk-in clinic, but if it's closed, there's no other options. If it's a holiday, there's nothing. If it's at capacity, which they may
Yeah.
determine at 8:30 in the morning, that they're not going to be able to see anyone else for the rest of the day. Now you got to go to Emerge, where emergencies are happening, and now
Yeah.
you're there for 6-7 hours,
And you fall into a
and
queue of importance. Yeah.
it's not just that okay, yeah, you had to wait, but you still got the free healthcare. But it's when you look at it from a larger picture, take it outside the scope of the family, and now it's, you know, people aren't going to get medical care because they don't want to wait. They're getting sick. They're creating
Yeah.
bigger problems. They're there's just like the compounding negative effects of all these things, like
Mm-hmm.
lost wages and absenteeism from work and stuff like that. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Or
Mm-hmm.
what about kids who aren't going to school because they're spending so much time trying to get looked at by a doctor that isn't taking the time to
Yeah.
properly diagnose an issue because everything's so rushed. You know what I mean?
Everything is so rushed. I heard that like most doctors only have a 15-minute window with their patients. And so like if you
Wow.
have a real issue, like once they check your vitals and, you know, the initial things that they have to do, there's not a lot of time left. Like that probably consumes half of their window of opportunity. So it's
Yeah.
like, okay, what's wrong? Tell me quickly. I have
And you're hoping
72,000
that
more people to see today.
you're hoping it's Gregory House and he can just see through the bullshit and knows the questions to ask, you know?
Yeah.
Because I mean, how many times have you gone to a doctor and you have no idea what's going on? And they're like, okay, describe the pain for me. And you're like, I don't fucking. It's kind of like a squelching, squeezing sort of, and you know, like every now and again, it's just like it comes and it goes, and it's just so difficult to describe. And they're looking at you like, okay, I've got this mystery to solve with
Hmm.
almost no information, and the only person who can give me information is really not helpful. It just it's just bad. I don't know. Yeah. Oh man. But
Yes, I will say I'm very grateful for our system. I know a lot of people may not agree and
mm,
have seen maybe only negative stuff, but I will say, you know, all in all, we have our best interests looked out for.
I think so. I think so. I
And you
want to
can
think so.
access help should you need it, right? It's there. It's not like it doesn't exist. It's overwhelmed, like so overwhelmed, but
There's no reason
it's
you
helping a lot of
can't
it's
take the
because
time.
yeah. It's I think it's well it's I don't say it's obviously, but like it's definitely because it's being used and used by the people who need it most. I
Yeah.
can't say, but hopefully, yeah. Like to go in and have I'm sure we've talked about this before, but like to receive cancer treatment, for example. I'm under the impression I haven't had to do it, so I can't say firsthand, but I'm under the impression that a lot of that is covered. And
I
you're
hope
not
so.
getting like a medical bill for your chemotherapy or other radiation after the fact. Not only are, you know, in other countries people dealing with this like life-threatening disease, but then they also have to deal with the financial repercussions of it. Like they've already proven that stress depletes your immune system greatly. And so where cancer is concerned, I feel like your immune system has to be boosted for it to be defeated if you want to stand a chance at going into remission or that sort of thing, right? So uh,
The
you look
wait.
perplexed. What's
Yeah,
happening?
I was reading about universal health care,
Okay.
and then it pinged me, and I can't remember what I was going to say. Doug Ford.
Okay.
He is the role. I think a lot of this stuff is happening because
There's an
there's a
election.
potential election in the near future. But this one doesn't seem to be aligned with an election. They're basically saying if you go to medical school, we'll pay for everything as long as you go somewhere where no one wants to go. And then he said,
I didn't hear this. I didn't hear that part, but I did hear, and I thought we talked about this, but now I'm like second guessing it. Maybe we didn't. But he like really wants people, he's trying to like push people into like the medical field, and people who like maybe would have second guessed it be like, hey, here's all these incentives, please become a doctor, because he
Yeah,
recognizes,
we
I
need
think,
you.
the desperate need for doctors. And so yeah, he's helping fund a pile of it, and
He
he
was
is also eliminating international applicants to like Ontario medical schools, if I read that
is
correctly. Again,
I
double check,
I thought it
fact check
was
me. And
he is limiting.
he wants
I
nine.
just don't know if it's medical schools.
Oh, okay. So he wants 95% of the applicants to be in Ontario for the med school programs, and
Hmm.
then the remaining 5% will be open to outside of Ontario but within Canada.
Yeah. Um,
Yeah.
I know a lot of places do that.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure a lot of schools do that. I should say, not
Okay.
necessarily places.
Yeah.
They're very picky and choosy about who gets access and from where.
Yeah.
I don't really have a problem with that. I don't care. It's just like internal politics doesn't bother me none. But
Yeah. His
I thought it
reasoning
was. I
was
mean,
that a lot of people were coming here, getting a very high quality education from our medical schools, and then returning home, which, like, to them, great, amazing, wonderful.
mhm.
But I mean, it's not hard to see the need for doctors here. So he's like, also, there was an incentive for if you stay here after you graduate and like open up a medical practice or something. There was an incentive about that too, but I'd have to reread it to quote it
Yeah,
accurately.
he said because we have a problem with access to medical care in remote communities, northern communities, a
Okay.
lot of rural
Northern
areas. So
Ontario, or like all of North? I guess he only cares about Ontario.
I think it's to go to northern Ontario because
Yeah.
he says, well, it's incentivizing people to not only go to med school but also to go to med school and work somewhere where if you go to med school to be a doctor, you probably
Hmm.
don't want to go work somewhere. You're not going to get paid much. The quality of life is different than what you're used to or what you were
Right.
expecting or what you maybe were hoping to have in your future.
Hmm.
But he did say, the idea is maybe they go there and they meet someone and then they stay there. I was like, you
Hmm.
know what, like I can't knock you for that, but
I mean,
man,
he's not
it's so
wrong. I'm
funny.
sure that
The way he
happened.
talks kills me. It's so
But yeah,
funny.
he speaks like in such a plain way. Like, I don't know how else to describe it. Like,
Yeah,
he doesn't have sort of that.
there's no political ease to it. There's no tact.
Yeah, he doesn't have that political speak that a lot of politicians have.
He honestly sounds like
Make
if
makes
if I got in front of a microphone and just started talking to people. You know what I mean?
You're like, hey,
I'm not
how's it
well
going?
versed in.
What are your problems? Tell me about them.
Yeah,
How can I fix? Yeah, yeah. Good old Doug Ford. Yeah, I feel like there are, like we were saying earlier, there are always critics. I feel like when he came into power in Ontario, I was kind of like, oh boy, here we go. But yeah, you got to kind of take the good, I guess. And to me, I think this is a good thing, because the goal, at the end of the day, is to have more doctors practicing in Ontario. So I feel like that's a good goal, and hopefully this is like a good method of having that at the end of the day, right? Help
yeah. It says
alleviate those
here,
wait lists.
70% of healthcare spending in Canada is covered by the government.
Seventy
So the other
percent. Oh, no.
30%, yeah, some services you pay for directly, or they may be covered by private or employer insurance. So I guess
Yeah,
that would be the difference. If you don't have employer insurance, maybe that's hospitals, doctors, and diagnostics are covered.
yeah.
Yeah, I guess, I don't know. Doesn't seem
I'm
like any good answer anywhere. Basically, it's just roll the dice.
So I have a dumb question that's kind of related to health.
If you don't use it, you don't lose it. It's okay, everyone. Trust me.
Thank you. So Anson asked me, what is a twin? And without Googling it, how would you describe what a twin is?
It's an exact version of you born at the exact same time.
But what if it's not an identical twin?
And it's just two people born at the same time.
Two people born at the same time.
So you're Anson, you're a child, right? You were a baby. You were born. If you had a twin, that baby would have been born at the same time as you.
Right.
One after the other.
So I had this, like, I answered the same way you did initially. I just said, like, genetically it's two people who are the same, and then I was like, wait a minute. That's not necessarily true.
Well, you also said genetically. You have no idea.
I know.
Do you know what DNA is?
Their DNA is the same. Now let me explain DNA to you, 5-year-old. I missed the mark completely, and then I was like, I know that's not the right answer. I do that all the time, though.
My answers are way too real with the kids.
I'm literally writing this down so that I can say it to him. So it's someone who is born at the same time from the same
when your brother
mother.
Or sister is born at the same time as you. Yeah. Instead of mommy having one baby in their belly, mommy has two babies in their belly.
Sometimes 3 or more.
Yeah, and then it's like, I love those pictures where you see guys.
Which wouldn't be a twin, but yes.
With their friggin' 1,000-yard stare because they realize they're having quadruplets or something like that.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find a picture.
They're just like, well, they're doing math, I think. That would be my...
They're like, I only got to have sex once, and now we get 4 fucking kids?
Well, my mind, I don't want to say would immediately, but like in the moments following learning this information, I think first there's your emotions. You're just like, whoa, okay. Like,
yeah,
there will be now not just, if it's your first kid, 3 of us, there will be 4, maybe 5. And then it's like, okay, well, diapers. Okay, how many diapers are we going to need? How clothing? We're going to need a lot of that.
The kids are naked, put down puppy pads, and you got to hose out back.
Yeah, you just, like, something else happens. I don't want to say relate back, but the only time I have heard of somebody having triplets is through the stories that Dr. Drew and his wife have shared on various podcasts I've heard them on, because they did IVF. And he's like, this is long before they had any kind of, like, regulations on amounts of embryos and, like,
God, so they just,
they're
like,
much more strict
up,
now. Yeah, and then she had triplets, and so
it's like, how many Mike and Ikes can you put in your mouth at once?
Yeah, and she talks very candidly about her experience being pregnant, and then, like, I am 99% sure she had a C-section, because that would be insane.
I was just thinking, like, I feel like after beyond twins and triplets, maybe, I feel like it's gotta be cesarean. Like, it's dangerous to have twins naturally, they say. Yeah, you're high risk as soon as you have multiple births.
Yes, so so C-section, and then coming home with 3 babies, and she's like, you are just a robot. You were like, diaper, bottle. Like, you're just constantly, there's something going on. And she's like, it's not until they're, like, in their late teens that you start
My
to,
God, that's so far away.
yeah,
Could you
to live a
imagine?
little. I can't. It's crazy
Well,
to me.
William was a year and a half when Olivia was born, and that was way too much. Do you know what I mean?
That was a lot.
I couldn't
Yeah.
imagine them. Boom.
At the same time. Yeah.
That's brutal. And there's
I
no
remember my mom wishing that on me. She was like, I hope it's twins. And I was like, I
Yeah.
don't. What?
My mom's a twin. Yeah, we were nervous.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does she have stories, lore, if you will, to share?
If she does, I don't remember them. I
Okay.
don't think so.
And would
She's
you
a
have...
fraternal twin, so
Yeah,
I don't know
because
if that changes.
it's her and her brother, yes?
Yeah, that would be fraternal. Well, I guess it's 2024. It was her and her brother. It could have been her and her sister. Now, who knows?
Yes.
For the record,
I'm
Uncle Shane
fairly
is
certain.
definitely still a guy.
Still, yes. There's two girls that I drive on the bus, and they're in the same grade, and they have the same last name, and they're always together. So I'm assuming they're sisters, but they don't look the same. They're not the same height. They're not the same stature. Like,
Interesting.
I'm like, either as two surrogates, or like one was your mom and one was a surrogate, or your mom had fraternal twins. And I'm like, the opportunities are endless in my mind of like how they came to be, you know?
Yeah.
And so it's not something I'll ever ask out loud, but I've definitely pondered it in my mind. I'm like, where'd you guys come from? What's your story? Yeah. But they're like so sweet and polite, and I'm just like, it doesn't even matter because you're good people.
I remember, this is so funny. My first trip to Cuba, I went with Cassie and her family, and Tyler's Cassie's brother. Tyler brought his friend Mike. Anyway, we're sitting in the lobby, me and the boys, we're having some drinks, and we're chilling with this other guy. I think his name was Jordan. And
okay. Just another guy at the resort?
Yeah, he's around our age. We're shooting the shit or whatever. And then this other kid comes up, and he's much younger than Jordan. And he also looks very different. And I'm talking skin color and everything.
Okay.
And we find out that they're brothers. And I'm fucking stunned at this
Beside
point.
yourself.
And I don't...
You're like, but how?
Well, yeah, and I don't mean shocked. I mean, I'm and Jordan's mom came into the lobby and was talking with Jordan or whatever, and then another gentleman comes in a little while later and comes over, and like you can tell just by body language and the way they're all chatting, like this is their dad. And in my mind, I went,
it all makes sense now. Genetics.
Yeah. Mixed race couple. It happens, and I'm very, very small town kid. You know what I mean? I had no, it's not that I had no idea. I will say that that's an important.
Sorry, I would say that that's an important part of the story, is that you grew up in a small town and you were not exposed to mixed race couples. I'm assuming.
Yeah, not for nothing. I'm sure there were. Yeah, it was a very, very white community that we grew up in, you know what I mean?
Still is, I bet.
But man, and we found out later that these guys, this has nothing to do with the story anymore. This is just one of those cool things. The trip they booked, they were there for 2 weeks, and the trip they had booked was booked on one of those deals where, you know, if it snowed more than this much on New Year's Day, their trip was free, and it did. They hit the bank, yeah. So their trip was, I'm assuming, comped. We didn't get any confirmation or whatever, because I feel like now, looking back, I wouldn't be surprised if there was some small print that kind of hosed them in the end. But
yeah,
very exciting.
Honestly, I think like that was a thing for a little while with a lot of like vacation companies. But
big incentives to book.
yeah, they disappeared. So it's very interesting. I feel like there must have been a couple real good years where they got hosed, and then you're like, okay, no more special.
Yeah. This was a terrible idea. It's like
Yeah.
Michael Scott and his golden ticket idea, all 5 of them in the Blue
The
Cross
same shipment.
account.
Yeah.
Oh my god, idiot!
Mm-hmm. But
Wow.
then, do you remember what happened?
Well, yeah, they made them the exclusive supplier of
Yeah.
Blue Cross, which was perfect.
Unexpected. And then
That's a great
they're
episode.
like, Michael, this was actually a great idea. But then by then he blamed
pawned it
Dwight.
off on Dwight.
And so Dwight was taking credit. Yeah. It was perfect. It was such a good episode.
I'll give you guys the rundown of the whole episode if you want, but I feel like no one else cares as much as
so many people care. So many people
The
care
Office
about The
is
Office.
one of my favorite shows. Well, there's an Australian
Speaking
version.
of which, sorry. Yes, go ahead. Australian version.
That's it. What were you going to say?
Oh, okay. It came it's started recently.
I have no idea. That's all I had because I don't know anything else about it.
So Jenna Fisher, it played Pam in the show, and
I can't.
I was just gonna. I only learned this recently. So she and I think her name's Angela, who played Angela Kinsey. Is it Angela? Is that her real name, or is that her character's name?
Yep.
Both. Both. There you go. So she
later
has a podcast they co-host together. It's called The Office Ladies, and they recap all of the Office episodes and give you detailed behind the scenes, and sometimes they have other actors come on and kind of spitball with them about the things that happened, and they share memories, and it's if you're a real nerd about The Office, you will love this. So yeah, check out The Office Ladies. But she went through cancer treatment while still co-hosting the podcast. And, she was talking about some days were really brutal, and, how she felt going through it. And now that she's in remission, I think, she was giving Angela all this praise for being such a wonderful co-host and being so supportive. And she's like, I needed the distraction. I needed to continue working. She's like, and Angela just made it the easiest thing ever to continue doing this. And she's so grateful. Anyways, it was such a moving thing to watch them talk about. And yeah, she has very short hair now because I don't know if people know this, but your hair falls out when you go through cancer treatment. And so it's growing back a little bit. And yeah, she's doing good. But
I find it especially heartwarming because they're such good friends.
Yes.
Which makes the relationship between their two characters on the show even more funny. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yeah. Such a contrast.
They're kind of like oil and water.
Yes.
Such a stuck up bitch. I think it's season 2. They have the fire and they're all standing outside playing the desert island game. Roy comes along and they're playing Fuck, Marry, Kill, I think. And, or no. It was just who in the office would you sleep with? And Roy's standing beside Pam, who is his fiance. And they ask him the question. He goes, who's that tight ass Christian lady? The best description of her, tight ass Christian lady. And oh man,
things you couldn't say on TV now, hey? Yeah, right beside Pam. Even when Roy was
when they're both pregnant, and she's like, I have to tell you something. A friend of mine, and she's basically just shitting all over Pam right to her face. It's just the best.
Is not taking care of herself in her pregnancy, and I don't know what to say.
She's drinking coffee or eating chocolate. I don't know, something stupid.
It was something super minimal.
Yeah, when they come back from maternity leave, and Pam is all she looks like crap, and Angela shows up and she's stunning and everything, and she's like, "What? It's just a baby. They mostly sleep." And Pam's like, "What are you fucking talking about?"
Are
And
you kidding me?
how'd you have
And
time to
it's
bake?
Pam's second baby as well?
Yeah,
Or
yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think so.
So I feel like
Philip.
if you've had two kids, then like the jump from 0 to 1 is undeniable. But then 1 to 2 is still like a big leap. So
Yeah,
the way that Angela just downplays that completely, and she's
the
just like,
whole thing.
whatever,
Yeah.
it's so easy.
So funny. Just great
Yeah.
writing in that show.
Yeah.
What a detour we've taken. Holy smokes.
Yeah. Kevin Federline to The Office.
This is the best.
There and back
I don't know
again.
how we do it. Oh, I know
Double
how we do it.
wagons.
ADD.
Woo! Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, dude. All right. Well, we'll wrap it up here. I think. Yeah. Catch up with everybody next week.
Looking forward to it. Thanks so much.
Wonderful. Thank you. Toodles.